Welcome to another CSE issuer update. I appreciate everyone that's tuning in to watch this. Today, I am talking to Jonathon Deluce. Jonathon is the CEO of Goldseek Resources Inc. Now, Goldseek has been trading on the CSE since March of 2020. We have not had a chance to profile John and his team and talk a little bit about Goldseek. So I'm happy that we've taken the time to coordinate this little bit of an interview. John, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you're well.
Yeah, things are good, and I appreciate you having me, and very excited to introduce our story to your audience.
Absolutely. So let's jump right into it. Why don't I let you start by giving us an introduction to Goldseek Resources? What is this company about?
Yeah, so a bit about myself and my family office to start, given that we're the founders of the company and we're the largest shareholders with 52% ownership of the company. So we're really partnered alongside our shareholders. But I'm a member of a family office that's been successful operators across the airline, real estate, and mining businesses. So we're not perma gold bulls, but we do see a tremendous amount of opportunity over the coming 5 years, given the economic conditions at hand. So for the majority of our 20 years in mining, we've been focused in the private mining sector. And what I mean by that is developing projects privately, more of a prospect generator, and financing and holding board positions on smaller junior mining companies. However, about in 2016-17, we decided to shift from that. We had a string of bad investments where we hit some of the traditional, what hurts the industry, lifestyle companies, where we helped management teams raise money, didn't execute on their business plan. So instead of going through that again, we saw a lot of potential in this upcoming cycle. So we decided to put our money to work alongside shareholders and build a company from scratch, which, as you mentioned, went public in March of 2020. And really, this is our vehicle to take advantage of what we believe is a very hot junior mining market that is developing.
Yeah. Now, obviously, we'll get into your projects and where they're located and what you guys and the team are working on. But why don't we just jump right into it a little bit, talking about your team that you've assembled to move this project forward, along with maybe a little bit more detail into your background.
Yeah, no. So I come from a finance background. I spent 6 years at Ernst & Young working with intermediate and major mining companies across the world. So it gave me a really good insight into what they're looking for in terms of production and reserve pipeline, given that, as your followers very well may know, there's been a huge neglect of exploration spend in the last 10 years, and reserves amongst the majors have fallen off tremendously. So I believe that in this bull gold market to come, there will be a lot of M&A. So we're really building Goldseek to be a company that meets that need of having resources and having a project that is in good infrastructure like Beschefer. So as I mentioned, I come from a finance background. We believe in building the technical team around the assets that we're developing. So in the case of Beschefer on the Detour Gold Trend, we look to find a lead that has had success in the camp that we're working on. So Martin Demers is our lead technical geologist on the project. He was a senior geologist at Casa Berardi project, which is 40 kilometers southwest of Beschefer. He was part of the team that oversaw that development, leading to over $800 million takeover by Hecla. So nearby success, and really he's had direct success, and our goal is developing a resource and realizing the liquidity event alongside our shareholders at Beschefer and our remaining portfolio.
Got it. So from what I gathered, there's two areas of focus. One is the Hemlo region of Ontario, and then obviously the region in Quebec that you've just sort of detailed to us. Let's jump in with Ontario right away. So what is the focus there, and what has your team been working on?
Yeah, so Ontario, we're a Quebec-focused company, but we do have one specific project in Ontario that we were quite excited about that had us diversify into that region. So our Horizon project shares 4 kilometers of the mining lease with Barrick Gold's Hemlo mine. So we're just north of the open pit that they have. So it's very rare to see a deposit like Hemlo produce 20 million ounces, over 20 million ounces, and not have nearby satellite deposits like you see in the Rouen or Val D'Or camps on the Quebec side. So that's where the geology was very favorable. We've been able to outline some encouraging targets to start there. So we are developing that project with a smaller budget, but systematically while we're focusing our larger capital at Beschefer. So really, your following can view our business model with two arms. We have Beschefer, which we're using the majority of our budget, which is a near resource project, and our grassroots, we have 5 grassroots projects, including Horizon, and we're taking a prospect generator approach on those. And our goal is to at least have one partnership, joint venture in 2022, where we're able to realize value and develop one or more of our grassroots assets through a partnership. Well, we put our capital, focus our capital where we think we're going to create the most value for our shareholders.
Yeah. So of course, as you've alluded to, there's obviously reasons why you and your team are so bullish on the Quebec region, but maybe for investors that aren't familiar with, the Quebec area when it comes to mining, why should they be paying attention to this space?
Yeah. So even myself as an Ontario resident, I can say that Quebec, in my opinion, is the best mining jurisdiction in Canada for numerous reasons. The first is we have very strong partnerships with our First Nations in the various camps that we're working with, many of which have their own mining infrastructure and contractors, and they're very involved with our projects, which is obviously key to seeing the success in these remote areas of Quebec. Secondly, we have full support from the Quebec government and ministry. For every dollar we spend of hard money in the province of Quebec, we get about 38 cents back, which it's miles above any of the other provinces in Canada. And there's other government programs, but also there's demand. We've seen a lot of M&A even early in the cycle in Quebec, especially around the usual Cadillac belt, the Val D'Or. So for those reasons and many more, we believe that Quebec is a very strong jurisdiction because everybody views Canada as a whole as a tier 1. And I would argue that you have to go province by province to look at the support from the provincial and also very importantly, the partnerships with the First Nations. But I can confidently say that Quebec is very strong in that, and also the mineral potential, as evidenced by the amount of discoveries and mines that has opened up on the one greenstone trend to date.
And so currently, John, your team is in the process of a drill program in the Quebec project?
Yeah, so at Beschefer, we did a 4,000 meter drill program over the winter. We continue to expand on the Beschefer project, which historically has over 100 gram per ton plus gold metal factor intercepts. And really, we believe that that's a key threshold. I think it was, I listened to an interview with Rick Roll. When he assesses projects, he likes to look for if the project hosts 100 plus metal factor, because that increases the economics significantly. So we can say that this project hosts 4. We've drilled one of them on the Goldseek side. That was back at the end of 2021, where in our first drill program, we hit 4.92 grams per ton gold over 28.65 meters, which was a very encouraging intercept. So as you mentioned, we've had 2 drill programs since acquiring the Beschefer project, which we have an option to earn 100% on from Wallbridge Mining, which has had a lot of success about 30 kilometers northeast of us, where they announced their maiden resource of over 4.5 million ounces of gold, which really helps prove that the Detour Gold Trend on the Quebec side is going to be one of Quebec's next major mining jurisdictions. So we have a power line that runs through the property, so great infrastructure, and we really do view being in a position similar to where Wallbridge was in 2016. So 2016, Wallbridge had a 5 million market cap. They started with a small Fenelon footprint, which many people thought was just a small deposit without many extensions. And through the drill bit, they were able to prove out that it is a system similar to many of the large gold systems in the Abitibi that has legs and it is open in all directions. And they were able to see a significant re-rating as a result. So we're similar market cap, similar starting footprint, So we want to follow in the successes that they've had in a similar setting.
John, everything seems to be aligned. Obviously, projects in a great jurisdiction, lots of infrastructure, a very smart team who's done this before, great relationships with the First Nations communities that you have your projects in. Now, one thing that most of us cannot control are market conditions. As we all know in the industry, they're very cyclical. I want to actually talk to you about how you and your team have prepared yourself to weather the storm when it comes to market conditions.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, market conditions are out of our control, but you have to always have a plan to push through, because it's unfortunate. Some great projects, you run out of money. You see companies take on very dilutive financings that don't reward shareholders when the market turns back in your favor. So as 52% shareholders between myself and my family office board, we're partnered with our shareholders, and we do pride ourselves on having industry low G&A. So I would challenge your following to find a junior that's run leaner than we run Goldseek. But the importance of that is we can pull down the hatches and weather the storm while we're not being rewarded by the market, to ensure that when the market turns, we're very, very tightly structured. So the public float is 19 million shares. The overall float is about 38 million, so very tightly held. But in terms of our next financing, my family office, myself, we've committed the entire amount to ensure that all of that is filed on SEDI, and we keep our cap structure tight until the market realizes the value that we're putting together at Béchefer. Because today we're trading at under our IPO price, which I'm not obviously proud to say, but it's a reality of the market. But it's a great time to do these type of interviews where investors or followers have the opportunity to look at the company below what we came public at in 2020 as a result of market conditions. But we, as I said, we're partnered with our shareholders. We're stepping up to backstop the company so we don't take on money that is looking for a double, because our goal is to set up the company to do a much larger $3 to $5 million raise and see year-round drilling at Béchefer. And we believe we have that environment coming. We believe that Béchefer has the strength of an asset being near resource amongst 4 different gold zones. So it's just a matter of us weathering the storm and positioning the company for when this market turns. And we believe in this inflationary environment, it's going to be very explosive. So I don't like being patient and because we always want things to happen sooner. But at the end of the day, we have a plan, and we're very positive on the prospects at Béchefer and the junior mining gold market as a whole.
John, I think you've explained really well on why a company like Goldseek differentiates from some of your peers that are in this space. So thank you for that. Now, with the current drill program, I know you mentioned that company will be looking at doing a raise in the future. Are there any other milestones our viewers and investors can look out for from you and your team?
Yeah, so we are still updating our 3D model sections for our last drill program. So we'll have some updates there. We are doing an internal resource calculation. We will then make a decision on whether or not we go for an official or how we can disclose our progress there, because we believe, because at the end of the day, a resource estimate is you have to deliver it at the right time. So once we know our numbers, we'll ensure that we deliver it at a time that it's going to create value for shareholders. But sitting today at around $2.5 million market cap, we're developing an asset that for our market cap, we believe will create a lot of value. And then we're going to be looking at doing a small drill program this summer with a specific goal of connecting the central shallow and east zone, which will help with our objective of producing a strong maiden resource or continuing to build on the drill success that we've had. And then we're going to look at getting into a larger drill program towards the end of the year, partly because the market is, as we've discussed, market conditions are tough right now, but we're not going to suspend work. We're just going to ensure that we continue to develop things cost efficiently. But we're able to get a lot of mileage out of our programs this summer and fall and lead the company towards a larger drill program towards the end of the year when we believe that we believe and hope that market conditions turn. And we're also targeting additional acquisitions around Béchefer, similar to how Wallbridge had the the small initial Fenelon project and leverage that to consolidate the district. So that's another potential catalyst that we're working on for investors.
Lots to look out for from you and your team.
Yeah, no, it's although a lot of people are down with market conditions, we're very excited. Every environment offers opportunity. It's a good time to be looking at acquisitions because a lot of juniors, a lot of people are either out of money or very negative on the space. So now's the time to look at doing deals and getting caught up on some of the important technical work that doesn't have as much news appeal, but it's very important to developing a serious asset, and not just for a press release. At the end of the day, as 52% shareholders, we're in this for a liquidity event alongside our shareholders. So the depth of an asset is very important to that, and we'll continue to bring out releases that help support that.
Yeah, very, very clearly defined goals that you and your team have. So I want to encourage our viewers and possible investors to go to your website, take a look at, not only what your team has been doing, but also read up on your projects and some of your drill results and news that you've been putting out. So where can our viewers go to keep up with you and your team?
Yeah, you can go to goldseekresources.com. And as I said, we're truly partners with our shareholders. So I'm happy to have any of them reach out to us, happy to set up a Zoom call, happy to answer any questions, because we're very excited about things. We think this is great timing to look at the company and learn about what we're doing and how we're going to turn things around when this market picks up. So no, I appreciate your time today, and I encourage anybody to reach out to us, and I'm happy to have a conversation and update and introduce their story more.
Absolutely. And as you and your team are working on this momentum that you've outlined, we look forward to hosting you again to provide our viewers with another update. To everybody watching, you've been listening to Jonathon Deluce. He is the CEO of Goldseek Resources. Been trading on the CSE since March of 2020. And I encourage you to go to their website, sign up for the press release and newsletter, and look out for news from this team. I'm Anil Mall. I represent the Canadian Securities Exchange, and you've been watching a CSE issuer update with Goldseek Resources. Thanks again, John.
Much appreciated.